Hello, gentlemen, and welcome to the Men Save Your Marriage show. My name is Terry. I'm your host. I did an autopsy on my failed marriage, and now I use the lessons that I learned to coach other men on how to save their marriage before it fails. I'm going to share with you the things I wish someone would have shared with me before my marriage failed. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hello, gentlemen, and welcome back. This is Terry. I am your host, and this is the Men Save Your Marriage show, and we are at episode number 54. As you know, you just heard the bell. That means we are in the fight. We are in the ring, We are in the ring to fight for your marriage. That's right. You and I, tag team edition. Here we go. We are going to fight to save your marriage. We are continuing on. This is the third episode in the Lead the Way series. And today we're going to talk about leading yourself first. This is the Masculine Leadership series built for husbands who are ready to lead themselves, their homes, and their marriages, really. But today we want to talk about something that men skip all the time. And it's important that we talk about this. So I've dedicated an entire episode to it because we need to go over these things. And here's a question I get. And it's a question that I've asked many a men because sometimes most men fail to see this. But the question they need to ask is, how do I lead her when she won't follow? I mean, you think about it. You know, you're in a struggling marriage. That's why you're listening to this show, right? You're in a struggling marriage. You haven't really been in a good place with each other, and now you've made these changes. You're starting to learn what it feels like to pursue her and to lead and what you want. And we're working through all of these things. 54 episodes of information and training and learning here, and you're really starting to change. And you maintain your calm and you don't explode like you used to, and you're working on yourself. But how do you lead her when she won't follow? Well, the truth is that's the wrong question. See, the question should be, and here's the one I want you to ask, how do I lead myself in a way that earns her trust and builds unstoppable momentum? That's the right question. See, if you can't lead yourself, you can't lead anyone else. Not your wife, not your kids, not your team, not your future, nothing. The war for leadership is at its very beginning is internal. And most men lose it before they ever say a word. And we're going to fix that today. We're going to continue through this blueprint, and I'm going to show you how to fix this internally and how to win this war for leadership inside of yourself. And then you can begin to lead your wife and your children and your home. So, the first point I want to talk about is self-leadership is the root of masculine power. You have to understand that. When you were a boy, someone told you what to do. But when you became a man, no one did. And you either rose or you drifted. The modern world has created men who are externally compliant but internally weak. You show up to work because your boss expects it. You behave at church because someone is watching. You avoid certain actions because of fear, not conviction. But what happens when no one's looking? When the pressure is gone? When your wife's disengaged and you feel alone? That's when your true self is revealed. See, self-leadership is doing what must be done without being told. It's waking up early without being forced. It's setting a standard and following it in private. It is choosing prayer and discipline and presence when apathy would just be so much easier. But here's the hard truth, guys. Your wife doesn't need you to be perfect. She needs you to be consistent. Your wife doesn't need you to be a hero. She just wants you as the man they can count on. And your home doesn't need a manager. It needs a man on mission. That starts with self-leadership. Let me tell you about Marcus. Marcus came to me 6 months after his wife moved out. She said she just couldn't trust him anymore. But Marcus hadn't cheated. He hadn't yelled. He didn't have a drinking problem. He was just inconsistent. Some days he was engaged. Some days he was lazy. Some days he was present. Other days in his head he was just gone. Checked out. He'd make promises, then forget. He'd start routines, then he'd quit. He had passion, but then no pattern. She didn't leave because he failed once. She left because she couldn't trust the pattern of him, the man. Self-leadership is the pattern, gentlemen. You've got to listen to me on this. Self-leadership is the pattern. And if you don't control your habits, your emotions, and your time, you are not leading. You are reacting. So let's fix this and let's do it right now. There are 3 domains of daily self-leadership. If you want to lead yourself, you need a command structure, something reliable, repeatable, and grounded. Here are the 3 domains you must command every single day. Number 1, you must command your mind. You need to guard the inputs, what you take in. And you need to read something that builds you, even if it's just for 15 or 20 minutes every morning. And then you need to declare what's true in your life and in your mind, not just react to feelings. Here's an example. This is one I use every day. I read a proverb every morning. There are 30 proverbs, 31 proverbs, basically one every day for the month. So I read every single day when I get out of bed the next book or the next chapter in the book of Proverbs. That's just one example. You could journal your leadership targets. Where do you want to go? Where do you want your family to go? What are some of the things you think you could accomplish with your family as you grow? And this is going to obviously change and sway and move as you age, as your children age. You know, what I want now is way different for my children than what I wanted for them 20 years ago when they were all babies, right? But you could journal your leadership targets. Start thinking it through. Discipline in your mind to think about these things, because then you can begin to think about how you're going to achieve them. So read a proverb, journal your leadership targets, or you could speak your identity out loud. Just, again, you heard me talk last episode about a mirror challenge. Just look at yourself in the mirror. I am the leader of this home. I carry peace, I bring clarity, and I follow through. There you go. Those are simple, right? I've got my own mantra that I say to myself every single day. I am healing. I am happy. I am hopeful. Every single day I make sure to share those things with myself, for myself. So you got to begin by leading your mind and having domain over your mind. Secondly, you got to have domain over your body. Now listen, you don't need a six-pack. I don't have one, but you do need to move with purpose. You need to eat like a man who leads and train like a man on a mission. For example, what if you had a 20-minute strength workout every day? What if you challenged yourself every day at the end of your shower to step out of the water, turn the water to cold, and step back into a 30 or 60-second cold shower? Kind of like your version, the man on mission's version of a cold plunge, right? Or what if you just walk around the block while you're praying or reflecting and make that a daily habit or an every other day habit? These are ways that you can take control over and begin to have domain over your body. Now you've got domain over your mind, and you're guarding what inputs you put into your mind, and now you've got domain over starting to take domain over your body. You're exercising a little bit. You're moving with a purpose. You eat right for yourself like a man on a mission. Okay? These are just ways that you can begin your mind, your body, and then finally, number 3, you have to have domain over your spirit. You can't give what you don't have. And a dry man leads a dry home. You need to fill your soul with something greater than yourself, whatever that may be for you. For some, that is prayer and reading the scriptures. That's what I do when I get out of bed, before I ever touch my phone. I need to pray and I need to read some scriptures. You can write a thank you note to God every morning if you want to. I don't do that. I'll tell you what I will do, though, or what I do. I have on my Google Docs on my phone, I have one document, and every day I go in and I just enter the date, and then I enter a couple, 2 or 3 things that I am grateful for. I want to absolutely practice gratitude, and I want to do it with direction. I want to do it with a command presence. I want to practice gratitude with intentionality, so that, how do I say this? You don't find gratitude once you're happy. You find happiness through your gratitude. So I intentionally start with gratitude. And from that gratitude, every day, 1, 2, 3, 4 things, whatever that I'm grateful for, out of that gratitude, happiness flows. Thankfulness flows. So you need to command your spirit, whether that's prayer and scripture, whether that's whatever that is for you. Write a thank you note to God if you want to. For me, that's what my gratitude list is. And then maybe fast one meal a week for clarity and discipline. I have found for me, I have a kind of an intermittent fasting thing, and I have found that to be very helpful. And in those hours when that I am fasting every single day, I'm praying for clarity. I'm praying for discipline. I'm not worried about getting a 6-pack. Believe me, that's not the case at all. But I am working as a man on a mission with a purpose to command these things in these areas of my life. And I want to have command of these domains: my mind, my body, and my spirit. Now listen to me carefully, gentlemen. These are not nice ideas. These are non-negotiables for men who lead. And I want you to understand that. So let me tell you about Josh. Josh used to wake up whenever the kids started yelling. He'd scroll through his phone. He'd miss workouts. He would skip meals or eat junk. And then he would blow up and explode by 5 p.m. Now, listen, Josh wasn't evil. He wasn't abusive. He was just ungoverned. He literally had no control over any of these areas in his life. So when he came to me, we kind of started working through this, and I started teaching him these concepts, and then we built a plan. And he built it. I just kind of helped guide him, but here's what he decided. He decided he would wake up at 6 a.m. no matter what. He would do 10 push-ups and a cold water splash in a pool or in the shower, and then he would read a psalm every day. He started with Psalm 1 on the first day of the month, and then he just carried through. So if it was the 10th of the month, he was reading Psalm 10. If it was the 15th, he was reading Psalm 15. But he read a chapter in Psalm every day of the month, and then they just keep going. He decided he would speak 3 truths into the mirror, and he chose his 3 truths and he wrote them down, and then he would choose one pursuit action for his wife every day. Maybe it was as simple as he would take the clothes she had in the washer. He heard it finish. He would grab them and throw them in the dryer for her. Or he would wash the dishes for her, or it was an unexpected help. Whatever it was, he was going to find one single small thing every day to pursue his wife. Within 30 days, Josh felt different. Within 60 days, Josh's wife felt different. Now, he never lectured her. He didn't guilt her. He just led himself with clarity. She felt the shift, and she came closer to him, because women don't follow men who flinch. They follow men who follow through. All right, point number 3, and then I will let you go. I do want to take a minute and remind you, gentlemen, if you are listening to this, I send a very short, no fluff, very specific email, challenge email every single morning. And I want you to go to mensaveyourmarriage.com and get on the email list. And listen, when you get the email every morning, open your phone, open your computer, after you've had maybe that prayer time or that reading time, whatever it is, open the email. And as you read it, it'll be very short, very direct. If it's something you're working on, let that challenge you. Let that be kind of an iron sharpening iron thing as you go throughout your day. But if it doesn't apply to you right now, just delete it and move on. No harm, no foul, and I will see you back in your inbox tomorrow morning for another email. But I want you to go. I want you to have this just small daily challenge. So I want you to go to mensaveyourmarriage.com, sign up for the email list, get on there, and have a daily challenge for yourself to become the man you want to be. All right. Point number 3. The man you follow sets your ceiling. This is a hard truth again. If your future is tied to the current version of you, you're not going far enough. You need to build a vision of the man you're becoming and follow him. This is how I teach self-leadership. I don't act based on how I feel. I act based on the man I'm becoming. You need to hear that again. I do not act based on how I feel. I act based on the man that I am becoming. If you want to live like that, you got to ask yourself some things every day. How does my future self act today? What standard does that man, me in the future, what standard does that man uphold? What does that man allow into his mind, into his schedule, into his spirit? And then just follow his lead. Answer these questions for the kind of man you want to become, and then follow his lead. Self-leadership is future-focused. It's pattern building. It's building before the storm. Because one day soon, your wife will test your consistency. Your kids will watch your reactions. Your job will challenge your patience. And if you haven't led yourself there first, you will fold. But if you've trained, if you've prepared, and if you've made yourself ready by following the man that you are becoming, when those moments arrive, you will lead without flinching. Now, here are some drills for this week, for this episode. This is self-leadership missions for this week. Number 1, a morning command ritual. Wake up 30 minutes earlier than normal. No phone. You can journal 3 wins from yesterday and 3 leadership targets for today. Keep it simple. Declare out loud something like this. I lead myself before I lead anyone else. You need to say that to yourself, and you need to do it. So that's the first one, a morning command ritual. Second one, how about evening rest? Sit for 10 minutes before bed. No phone, no television, just you sitting, maybe meditating, maybe praying a little, 10 minutes before bed. And then ask yourself, where did I lead? Where did I drift today? And then maybe write one thing that you will improve tomorrow. So now you can do a morning command ritual, you can do an evening reset, or here's the third one, the future self letter. Write a 1-page letter from your future self to your current self. Describe how that man leads, how he loves, and how he lives. And then read it to yourself every morning for the next few days. Say for the next 7 days. So do one of these, if not all of these. That morning ritual, that evening reset, and then the future self letter. Every day, work on these. All right, finally, gentlemen, if you want a structure to lead yourself with daily precision, I want you to go to marriagearsenal.com and grab the toolkit. The cards, the rituals, the missions. This is how you can deploy these tools to save your marriage. And that's the point of all of this, right? You're working on yourself to save your marriage and rebuild the connection with your wife. This is one of the tools that you can use to do that. You are in a war against passivity, against drift, and against reaction. You don't need inspiration. You need weapons. The marriage arsenal, you can use it to lead your morning, to frame your pursuit, to set the spiritual tone. You won't lead your marriage well if you don't lead yourself first. So build the system, strengthen the habit, fuel the fire, and lead you. Lead yourself before you try to lead anyone else. And lastly, no one is coming to lead you. No one is going to fix you. No one is going to hand you clarity. That's your job. That's your role. That is your mission. Your kids don't need a new version of your boss. Your wife doesn't need another reactionary speech. They just need you. Clear, calm, disciplined. This is how legacy starts, gentlemen. One man leading himself one day at a time. So let today be that day for you. This is the day that you heard this episode, you heard this show. Now you know. And from this day forward, every time you look yourself in the mirror, you need to be honest. Am I leading myself? Let today be the day, guys, and lead the way. I thank you, gentlemen. I look forward to seeing you here for the next episode. Go out and have a great day. Lead the way. So long.